Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the special companion video here on my YouTube channel. This, of course, is the video where, on the John Campea Show and on Open Mic, we always have extra questions that get sent in that we don't have time to get to. So I gather those questions up and answer them here on the companion videos. So you guys always know if you send in a live question on those shows, it does get answered. So let's not waste any time. Let's dive right to it. The first question we're going to get caught up here today comes to us from Hunter Tavaro, who writes, not related to Colin Trevorrow, sadly. Are you related to anybody famous? Keep up the amazing work. Love the show. No, as a matter of fact, no, I'm not. As far as I know, I really don't have any, famous relatives or anything like that. Like, my father came over from Italy with my grandparents and his siblings, and unless we've got some famous Italian celebrities in our family, no Italian celebrities. Or nobody famous in the Campea family. I'm the closest thing to it, I guess. Maybe one name writes, if DC were to reboot, are there some things you think they should not do differently? Well, yeah, look, one of the things that seems to have been a hallmark for the DCEU has going for a grittier, darker tone. And that's fine. If they want to go humorous tone, that's fine. If they want to go grittier tone, that's fine, whatever. But they went grittier and darker. And for some reason, the gritty, darker tone became the scapegoat for everything wrong with the DCU. And I was yelling at the top of my lungs ever since Batman vs. Superman, the tone is not the problem. They actually did their tone really well, I thought. And I just think there were other problems with the films. Like, I enjoyed them, but I think when you really look at the problems that most people had, they had nothing to do with the tone. To me, the tone just became the scapegoat excuse for things that people just weren't capable of articulating more. So yeah, the DCU had its problems, but that wasn't one of them. And if I, was in charge there, and thank God I'm not, but if I was, one of the things I'd probably say, number one, reboot, but one of the things I would say to bring over from what we were doing would be, hey, take another shot at the darker tone, because I do believe there's a place for it, and I think we can do it well. Troy Taylor writes, you're such a genuine human. Last time I checked, I am a genuine human being. Keep up the hard work. Unpopular opinion. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, better than Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Well, hey man, that's the subjectivity of film. And if it worked better for you, that's great. It didn't work anywhere near as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 1 to me. I liked Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I did. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as the first one. Like, the first one is just brilliant, like beyond brilliant. And I thought number 2 was good, but to me, nowhere near as good as the original one. But that's why all films are subjective. You obviously got a lot out of number 2, and that's awesome that you did. And I'm sure James Gunn will be glad to hear that. All right, next one comes to us from maybe one name who writes, do you think there are different rules or techniques for making good cinematic storytelling in video games versus film? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's night and day difference. Look, at its basic level, telling a story is telling a story, but, look, from my point of view, and you can agree or disagree with me, that's totally fine. From my point of view, when I look at games, even when I look at games like, say, Uncharted, right? Even the narrative flow in that is built around gameplay. Like, a lot of story melts are meant to be discovered in gameplay. It's about gameplay. Games are about games. First and foremost. So I believe the approach you would take to developing those stories and how you unfold those stories and what you do with those stories are radically different from that of a movie. Doesn't mean there's not some similarities. For sure there are, but I think for the most part, they're really radically different creatures. All right, next one comes to us from PJ Barnes, who writes, in light of WrestleMania, who wins this tag match? Black Panther and Iron Man versus Captain America and Spider-Man. I think in one-on-one matches down the board, Captain America wins, but Spider-Man is the weak link here because he's still relatively inexperienced. So I think Black Panther and Iron Man as a tag team, they beat Captain America and Spider-Man. Yeah, I think Captain America wins in a one-on-one tournament format there, but as a tag team, Panther and Iron Man beat Spider-Man and Captain America. That's my prediction. All right, let's move on here. Dave Akins writes, highly recommend The Gods Must Be Crazy is a great film. It's a wonderful film. And you know what? So I don't know that I've ever had somebody recommend that movie on one of my shows before, and I'm so glad you have. It's one that gets passed over. It seems like everybody who sees that movie acknowledges just how, like, it's just crazy good. It's just absolutely crazy good. But a lot of people just pass it over. So thank you for recommending that, Dave. I really appreciate that you did that. Ed Grarm 1028 writes, We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson. Your thoughts? Let me just make sure it's the right one I'm thinking of. Yes, it's the only one that we're seeing. Okay, so I thought there might have been another one of the same name. It's good. It's a good film. Greg Kinnear is in it, and I love Greg Kinnear at that point too. Nice movie. I don't think I saw it more than the once, though, to be honest with you. It's not one that stuck with me, and I think there are some people that really hold it in a higher regard than I do, but I think I saw it like the once, like 15 years ago, and that was about it. So I remember liking it, but I just, I never went much beyond that. Let's see. Ashley Perry writes, Hey John, big fan from South Wales, UK. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. You know what? It's funny. In all the years I've been doing this, going all the way back to the movie blog days, I've had some of the best viewers from the UK. And I've always had people telling me, you gotta come visit London, you gotta come visit London, you gotta come visit different areas of the UK. I think maybe this year I'm gonna try to make a trip over to the UK. Here's just a random question for you guys. If I came to, say, London and did a meet and greet in London, are there any of you guys there that would come? Seriously, I want to know. Like, would it be worth it to do it? Jump into the comments section. Let me know. Maybe we can work it out. Lawrence RBE writes, John, can you tell us the types of questions you won't answer about the movie industry? What will be narrative if Infinity War doesn't beat Black Panther? Infinity War should beat Black Panther. Well, I only take one question at a time, so I'll take that first one. The types of questions I don't answer, or at least I give the same answer that nobody wants to hear. What actor should play this role? That I don't answer. Which director should direct this movie? John, what are your top 10 this? Those are generally the answers, the questions I don't like. I mean, I don't like because, number one, I'm always just going to say the same answer to them. The top 10 questions, like, oh, come on, like, I would need to have some time to sit down and accumulate a list and put it together, so I don't like those ones. Those are the ones I stay away from, but more and more, I'm finding I'm not getting those questions asked nearly as much as I used to. So yeah. Okay. R.O. Olson writes, and anything that has to do with celebrity gossip. John, what do you think about so-and-so getting pregnant? Like, that kind of stuff I don't want to talk about. Okay, let's go on here. R.O. Olson who writes, Hey John, do you think Kopitar can carry Leafs, his best season so far, like Erik Karlsson did with Ottawa last season? Good luck, Leafs. Kopitar? Like on the Los Angeles Kings Kopitar? Can carry, well, I would think Kopitar maybe could carry the Leafs if he was on the Leafs, but unless something really drastic has happened the last little while, he's not on the Leafs, so I'm not quite sure how to answer that question, R.O., to be honest with you. Walden, hey John, it appears Chewie was CGI'd into the shot of Han outside the Falcon in the new trailer. He's not there in the first trailer. I'm not sure that that's true. I'd have to look at it again. It might be a different shot. It might be from a different angle. Could be anything like that. So I really don't know if that's true or not. Sterling Rains writes, will Infinity War break The Force Awakens record for fastest to 1 billion? That's an interesting question. See, because I have my doubts it's going to catch The Force Awakens in overall box office. But I think it does have a chance of catching The Force Awakens record as fastest to 1 billion. I think it's got a shot at that, I think. Let's put it this way. Out of which does Infinity War have the greater chance at? Catching The Force Awakens overall box office number or breaking the record for fastest to 1 billion? I would say he's got a better chance at faster to 1 billion. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. I mean, who knows how big this thing's going to be. Ryan Gosper writes, did you see where the Russo brothers were alluding to Steve Rogers possibly being the Nomad? Thanks for your time. Yeah, I saw that. There are some people saying, John, did you see the Russo brothers confirm that? No, they did not confirm anything. They teased a little bit. But you know, there's a reason we see Steve Rogers. I mean, I'm surprised when I hear more people talking about how Captain America's got the star blacked out on his uniform. I mean, so what that's alluding to or not, who knows? But the Russos are teasing about that. And I mean, it makes sense because if he's a criminal on the run, he wouldn't call himself Captain America. I have a feeling by the time Infinity War is done, he's calling himself Captain America again. I'm just a wild guess, but I'm thinking about that. LM writes, when talking about directors, why doesn't Frank Darabont come up more? The Mist, Green Mile, and The Shawshank Redemption, even one episode of The Shield. Well, one episode of The Shield, whatever. I think it's because for instance, the filmography you just listed, Mist is okay. Green Mile's good, Shawshank Redemption is fantastic, but that filmography is enough to be in a conversation about random good director. He's a good director. But that's not a filmography of when you're talking about the great directors. Darabont does not belong in the conversation. And The Shawshank Redemption is one of my top 10, probably top 5 favorite films of all time. But Darabont's name does not belong in the conversation with a Martin Scorsese, with a Steven Spielberg, with a Kubrick, with a Hitchcock. It probably doesn't even belong in the conversation with a Tarantino, with a Christopher Nolan. It's a filmography of a good director, but it's not a filmography of one of the great directors. You know what I mean? So that's probably why it doesn't come up nearly as much as you might think it would. Let's see. Cobra writes, you have the power to greenlight one of these sequels. Which one? Nice Guys 2, Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2, or The Account 2? Oh, fuck you, Cobra. You bastard. You bastard. Only one? Oh, that's a Sophie's choice right there, man. Because I want to see all of those. I want to see Nice Guys 2. I want to see Man. Oh, you bastard. Greenlight 1? Okay. The best movie out of those three was Nice Guys. I think the best movie out of those three was Nice Guys. A Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2, An Accountant, I put on the same level, just a hair below Nice Guys probably. But the one I think is set up best for a sequel and has great franchise potential is Man from U.N.C.L.E. So, while I think The Nice Guys is probably the best film on that list, if you're saying I really only get to greenlight one, I'm going Man from U.N.C.L.E. I really wanted to see another film for that one. The first one did not do as well as it deserved. It underperformed. I thought it was a quality movie, really fun, deserved better. I'd love to see them get another shot at it. I mean, you can say the same about The Accountant, you can say the same about The Nice Guys, but Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2's got that franchise potential, so I would go Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2 is the one I'd want to see. Okay, Dirk Diggler writes, so John, is it safe to say that Zoe Saldana's statement about comic book film haters is a response to Jodie Foster's remarks denouncing comic book movies? Bring on the filthy. See, I don't know about that, because if so, for those of you who didn't hear about it, Zoe Saldana, just do a quick Google search for this. But Zoe Saldana just recently made some comments about, people in Hollywood who trash talk like big blockbuster comic book movies, right? She makes some very great points. And sure, one of the first things that I thought of when I read her remarks were, of course, Jodie Foster's statements. But if she was aiming those comments at the Jodie Foster comments, that's a little odd, because that was 4 months ago that Jodie Foster made those comments. 4 months ago. So I have a feeling, look, Jodie Foster isn't the only one. These whispers and chatterings about, how bad comic book movies are, these are going on in a lot of Hollywood circles. I have a feeling it's really more a response to how much she hears it. And she probably hears it a lot more than we do, because we're not on the inside Hollywood circles, right? So she probably hears a lot more. I understand for us why our first inclination is to think of the Jodie Foster comments, because that's where we heard it from. But when you're on the inside of these Hollywood circles, she's probably hearing it all the time. She's probably hearing it all the time from people who wouldn't get on record and say it, who wouldn't get, hello, Hollywood Reporter, I want to make a statement about my feelings about comic book movies, So she's probably hearing it from a lot more places. So understandable that you and I instantly think of Jodie Foster, but it probably has nothing to do with Jodie Foster. Again, if it was, it'd be very... it would be really Bush League of her to be going after Jodie Foster's comments 4 months after Jodie Foster made them. It's probably more has to do with the comments she's constantly hearing, probably on a daily basis. All right, let's go on here. The number Thor writes, I know Neil Blomkamp did well with District 9. He certainly did. And it was awesome, but Chappie and Elysium was disappointing. But I like the shorts he's been doing. But do you think we could see Blomkamp do a Star Wars spin-off movie? Maybe, oh, fuck no. No. I don't want him going anywhere near Star Wars. I'm sorry. He has shown, now granted, it's a small sample size, but he has shown. And remember, District 9 is a story he was playing with for years before he did. It was his story. As soon as he walked into something like outside of District 9 that he had already made short films about, he did Elysium, shit the bed. He did Chappie, totally shit the bed. I mean, look, Elysium wasn't garbage, but it was not good. In my opinion, at any rate. So why would anybody hand him a Star Wars movie? Coming off Elysium and Chappie, why would anybody hand him a Star Wars movie? That makes no sense at all. So no, like I'm with you. I love District 9, I did. But District 9 is a movie, again, that was his and he had incubated and he had toyed with for years and years, did a short film about it, blah, blah, blah. Then he made his big movie. But after that, it was just, and yeah, he's done some great shorts, but I'm sorry, but the last 2 narrative films you have done that had sci-fi elements, you crap the bed on them. And I don't want to see him. Look, let him do something else. I'm not saying never let Neil Blomkamp direct a film again. Far from it. He's shown he's got talent, but I would need, as a Star Wars fan, to see him let me see that he can do more than just District 9. Let me see that he can do more than just District 9. Because until he shows me that, I don't want him going anywhere near Star Wars, to be honest with you. And again, he could do his next 2 movies and totally knock them out of the park, and none of us would be surprised. Then I'd be more comfortable with him doing a Star Wars movie. But why would Lucasfilm at this point, coming off of Elysium and coming off of Chappie, why would Lucasfilm hand him a film? No, makes no sense to me. Absolutely not. Okay. Mike Ippolito writes, over under Ready Player One to clear $750 million before the end of its run, and would Warner Brothers go forward with a sequel? It's not going to reach $750 million. It's already gone past, how many weeks has it been in theater already? It's now in its 3rd weekend, I believe. Let me just double check here. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up. I'm just having a bit of a problem here. Okay, here we go. That is not the right weekend. Blah, 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 blah. Let me try this again. Okay, so Ready Player One is now in its 2nd weekend, going into its 3rd. It's almost made $400 million. It's not going to double its money. It's not going to get close to doubling its money. So I don't see it making $750 million. And on top of finances, I mean, there's not a Ready Player One Part 2 book. Look, I'd be thrilled to see a Ready Player One Part 2. Or Ready Player 2. I'd be thrilled to see a Ready Player 2. I would. I'd be thrilled to see them, that this group of characters going back to the Oasis again, and new adventures in the Oasis. Sure, I'd be down for it. But it's not really necessary. There's not a second part of the book, and it just didn't make the money to justify it. And I don't think it's going to hit $750 million. I'm going to take the under on whatever number you give me on that. It'll be awesome if it does. I'd be really happy if it does. I just don't think it will. Let's see. Anthony Ashmask writes, which movie has a chance of giving Infinity War a run for its money in terms of worldwide box office in 2018? I think Infinity War will make $1.6 billion bare minimum at this pace. $1.6 million is a great number. That's where I think it's going to come in. I think it's going to come in around 1.6 million, or billion, I mean, and put that in context. As huge of a hit as Black Panther is made 1.3. We're talking about it making Black Panther money plus $300 million more. And I think 1.6 billion is good. I could also see 1.7, 1.8 maybe on the outset. Any movie that could give it a good run for its money. The only one that I think could give it a legit run for its money is maybe Jurassic World, if word of mouth comes out super positive about it. If word of mouth comes out super positive about Jurassic World, it's shown it has global legs, it has a domestic love, all that kind of stuff. It could do it. I don't think it will. I think Infinity War is going to be easily the box office champ of 2018. I don't see really anything challenging it. Anything that could come close to having a chance, I think it's Jurassic World. Let's see. Matthew Ware writes, Hot Toys Thanos is all right, but there's a statue of him on Sideshow's website that is cheaper and looks better in my opinion. Oh, well, I mean, look, Hot Toys, which belongs to Sideshow, they have like a lot of different variations of, like, I think they have like 10 Captain Americas and whatever. So I haven't seen all the Thanos' ones, but I'm going to go and check it out to see if I can find which one you're talking about for sure. David Bilioris writes, will Lando call Han a crazy pirate a la episode 6? I don't know. It's possible. Calling him a crazy pirate seems like a real term, like a term you would use for somebody you're really familiar with. And in this movie, Han and Lando are just meeting each other. So I'm going to guess no, but that's not a bad prediction. I'm certainly not going to fall out of my seat if they do. And if he does say that line in the movie, I'm instantly going to think of you, David. I will instantly think of you, as probably the rest of us will too. All right, next up, Luna Comics writes, I agreed with your 3 MCU picks, but I would switch Black Panther with Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, so I put out a video the other day, yesterday to be specific, because I've been asked by a number of people, hey, haven't watched a bunch of the MCU movies. Which MCU movies, if I can only get a little bit of time, which MCU movies should I watch before watching Avengers Infinity War? And the 3 films I listed were the original Avengers, Civil War, and Black Panther, because Black Panther sets up the context going into Infinity War. And clearly from the Infinity War trailer, there's a whole hell of a lot of it happens in Wakanda. So I kind of felt Black Panther needed to be there. There's a very strong case, Luna, to make for Thor Ragnarok as well. There's a very strong case for that. So, and I'm sure a lot of people would probably agree with you to put that on this. I'll stick with Black Panther. But again, there's a very strong case to be made for Thor Ragnarok, absolutely. Okay, Lincoln Johnson writes, should theaters draw a line when parents try to bring young kids into rated R movies, especially horror movies? Crying kids equal ruining theater experiences for everyone else. I don't think so. I don't. Because honestly, for every one time I've heard a baby cry in a theater, 9 times out of 10, the parent has been very responsive. Like, it cries, tries to quiet it down, it cries again. If it goes on for more than a couple seconds, 9 times out of 10, I see the parent take the child out of the theater. No problem. No sweat. But for every time that happens, most times the kids don't make a sound. You only notice it when they make a sound. But you're not noticing all those times you're watching a movie and there's 3 or 4 babies there and 3 or 4 little young children in there and they're not making a peep. You just don't notice it, right? So no, I don't think you exclude parents from having a night out if they can't get a sitter just because there's a 5% chance their kids might make noise. So yeah, and again, when they do make noise, I find parents are usually pretty responsive and will take their young kids out of the theater. So yeah, I'm actually okay with it, to be honest. I know that's not the popular opinion. but that's just kind of how I feel about that. Okay, final 2 questions. Warrington Train Spotter 2778 writes, have you ever watched Spaceballs? Do you think, oh God, you have clearly not watched me very long. Have you ever watched Spaceballs? Me. Do you think we will get a reboot now that new Star Wars movies have come out? No, I don't think we will. Spaceballs, one of my favorite all-time movies. I love Spaceballs. I quote it all the time. But I mean, that's a Mel Brooks DNA kind of movie. And I don't think Mel Brooks is making any more of them. So sadly, I'd be all for it, but no, they're not going to make any more reboots of Spaceballs. I don't see that happening at all. And finally, the last question today on our companion video is Suburban Nerd, who writes, Was I stupid to think Thor Ragnarok had a chance to be nominated or win? See in how The Martian won? Keep rocking, John. Your awesome supernatural theme plays. No, you weren't stupid. But I think most people realized Thor Ragnarok wasn't going to get nominated for anything outside of like technical awards or anything. It certainly wasn't going to win for best actor of anything. It wasn't the best screenplay. It wasn't going to get nominated for best director. I love Thor Ragnarok, but no, I can't really think of any of the significant awards it even should have been nominated for, from my point of view. But then again, we always say, all film's subjective. If you felt that way, that's great. But even I, who was a massive fan of Thor Ragnarok, will tell you, no, I didn't think it even should be nominated for that. But you are certainly not stupid for feeling the way you do, because that's the subjectivity of film. So never think you're being stupid for how you're evaluating a movie. You're evaluating it based on the experience, the unique experience that you had with it. And that's all any of us can do. So don't ever feel that you're being stupid for that. All right, guys, that will do it for this companion video. We are all wrapped up. Thanks so much for being here today. Remember, we do these things every day that we have extra questions to get to. Make sure you're watching the John Campea Show every day, Monday through Friday in the mornings here. And of course, we have open mic in the afternoons. That'll do it for me for today, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. My name is John Campea, and until our next video, bye-bye.